I started my first experience with Freedom Schools just like you. I participated in my first Harambe. And I'm probably a lot like you are, or were at the time when you were doing the activity. I was excited, I was getting into the music, I was getting into the cheers and chants, and I really wanted to learn more about what Freedom School was. At the time, I was talking with one of our assistant principals, Javita Dennis, and she said, Cheryl, you just got to come out there. You got to come and participate in Harambe. It's like having a workout. And I was like, yeah, Javita, whatever. You know, I'm thinking it's going to be just a couple of songs, and they'll have a reader, and it'll be over. And I got into that 30-minute session at 8:30 in the morning, and I thought, wow, this is awesome. And I was hooked just by Harambe alone, because Harambe did something that a lot of people don't do for those kids. They inspire the kids. They inspire them to inspire themselves. So in other words, when I heard the song, Something Inside So Strong, I thought about those kids, and I thought about that there was something inside each and every one of them that was so strong that no matter what obstacles they had to face when they left those doors of the school building, that they were going to be able to make it. And for me, that was very inspiring. So I had to know more, I desired to know more, and I started digging to find out more. And fortunately, that following summer, I was allowed to be the site coordinator at that same site. Because from that day forward, when I went to that first Harambe, for the next 5.5 weeks, my summer camp came to Harambe because it was just so awesome. Just think about it, 8:30 in the morning, 50 to 75 kids jumping up and down, cheers and chants, recognizing each other. It was just a great experience. And that was just one component of the Freedom School program. Freedom School desires to inspire, build self-esteem and character, and academic enrichment during the course of the summertime for all of our scholars. You see, we call them scholars because we want them to think like a scholar. We want them to believe that they can achieve, not only during Freedom School, but during the course of the school year as they move on year after year. Now, I had the wonderful experience of meeting and working with a young lady by the name of Kyla last summer. She is an exemplary example of what Freedom School is all about. Kyla started her Freedom School experience in the 3rd grade, and at the end of her 3rd grade year, she failed her reading EOGs. She had struggles with reading, challenges in other classes, and really the principal at her school wanted her to go to summer school because she wanted her to study really, really hard and pass that test, if that sounds familiar. Study really hard to pass the test. So, you know, you had summer school in one hand, and then you had Freedom School on the other hand. And her grandmother decided, she made the decision that Kayla was going to go to Freedom School. So at the end of Freedom School that summer, Kayla had to retake those EOGs. And Kayla made a 4. Do you hear me? In 6 weeks' time, you go from failing an EOG to making a 4, which is considered one of the higher levels of the EOGs passing. That's awesome. So as time progressed and year after year, she got better and better. She kept coming to Freedom School summer after summer at Siegel Avenue. And because of that, now she's at the same level with her peers at school. She feels comfortable talking and communicating with others in a group. She feels comfortable reading in front of other people because that's what we exposed her to. She served as a junior servant leader intern last summer, and that is a child who ages out of the program. You know, some of them age out in 5th grade, depending on the site. Some of them age out in 8th grade. Well, this young lady, she aged out. And instead of just deciding to go home and do her own thing, she decided to come and give back to Freedom School. She wanted to share her challenges and her victories with those scholars. And that's what she did last summer. So I'm hoping she'll be back this coming summer. Freedom School not only helps our younger youth, but we help to mentor our older youth. Our college-age students are the ones who teach our Freedom School classrooms with the 10-to-1 ratio. Now, some of these college students come and they're education majors. Others, they don't know anything about education. So we train them. We prepare them for what they have ahead for the next 6 weeks. And I finally think about a young man. His name is Mr. Antonio. He was up here in the yellow shirt this morning. And when he first came to Freedom School, he was young, had just completed his first year of college, and didn't have any idea of what he wanted to get his degree in. Anybody familiar with that feeling, not knowing what you wanted to do? Well, while Mr. Antonio was in Freedom School that summer, he had one of those aha moments, like, bling, 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 this is what I need to do. And he had a young man by the name of Daniel to look up to him one day and say, Mr. Antonio, I want to be just like you. Now, as a young African-American male, around 19 or 20, for a little kid to say that to him, that's awesome. It left a really strong imprint on Mr. Antonio. So much so that at that moment, he decided he wanted to be an elementary education major. And so now he's at UNCC. He has another year to go, and that's what he's working towards. And we're so thankful that he, became a part of the Freedom School program. Now, Freedom School has its challenges, and Mr. Antonio has had his challenges. On one occasion, he had to recover a knife from a Freedom School scholar who decided to bring one back to the site because he wanted to hurt someone. And he entrusted Mr. Antonio in that authority that Mr. Antonio had and gave the knife back to him. On another occasion, Mr. Antonio had to run somebody down from running away from the site. He talked to him, consoled him, listened, paid attention to what he had to say, calmed him down, and brought him back to the site. So these are the type of scholars that we have to deal with. These are the type of scholars we have to love because they deserve to be loved. Now, let me explain this to you, and this is so key. Freedom schools cannot be freedom schools without community support. It cannot be. Covenant Presbyterian understands about community support. You see, they've been a community supporter of Highland Renaissance Academy for many, many years, even before they ever heard about Freedom School. They would come in, volunteer their time, their talent, their gifts. They would do whatever they had to do in order to help support those families at that school. Well, they were introduced to Freedom Schools a few years back, and they decided, you know what? We can be unified. We can do this. We can gather the talents, the gifts, the treasures that we have, and we can share them with someone else, not expecting anything in return. But you see, they got things in return. They got the love of those kids. They got to share in the experience. And I bet you if you talk to any of them today that are here, they will tell you that they are part of the Freedom School family because they got the picture. They saw the vision, and they went with the vision. I want you to know today that I am so thankful that I am part of a community that is willing to get together for a common cause, to have success in the lives of children in Charlotte, to help them to grow and develop and build their self-esteem and build their character and build their academics during summer enrichment. I'm glad I'm a part of the community that's willing to do that, as opposed to other areas who would rather build larger prisons based on third grade reading level. Are you serious? Are you serious? That's when you know that this nation is in a crisis, when we want to build bigger prisons based on a child's third grade reading level. So you're telling me our kids aren't worth it? I tell you that's untrue. I tell you that we can make a difference as a community, and we have. I have seen Freedom School grow from when I started 5 years ago, from 5 sites to 25 sites, covering over 1,200 kids. The anticipation is that we will move on to try to serve at least 4,000 to 5,000 kids within the next 3 to 4 years. And I tell you today that we can do it. We can do it. And I want to thank you for this time.